Good afternoon and welcome. Today is our final day of ELT Week Argentina 2025. Good afternoon. And we're so excited to have you. Yesterday we had a lot of fun with Leandro Paladino and Maria Eugenia Yaniro. And of course, we saved something very special for today. As you know, you can go back to watch any of the sessions of the week if you have missed them. And before we start, today we have a very enriching and positive session. But as always, we want to remind you that safeguarding is a priority for the British Council. So you're welcome and encouraged to share your comments and thoughts in the chat, making sure that you respect positive communication and remembering not to share any personal details or sensitive information. Please note that harmful, violent, or inappropriate comments will not be tolerated, and you can report any concerns through the contacts that we're posting in the chat. Now, something very important, remember that we are issuing certificates of attendance for ELT Week to those who fill out the survey that we will share at the end of the sessions today. Please make sure that your name, surname, email address are correctly spelled so you can get your certificates. If you're watching this after the session in the recordings, you will receive the links to a registration form in your inbox via email if you have registered. Now, today we're going to begin our sessions with two fantastic friends of the British Council, teachers Belén and Gisela, the creators of the Teaching Touch. Belén Tur and Gisela Socola are educators and consultants from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Gisela is a teacher of English with a degree in advertising and has over 20 years of experience at early childhood, primary and secondary levels. Belén holds a degree in educational sciences, is a teacher of English, and recently became an ontological coach. Together, they created at the Teaching Touch in 2020 on Instagram to share ideas, resources, and insights from their lives as teachers. Welcome, Belu and G.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Thank you, Maria, for that presentation. Hello, everybody. I'm reading the chat. Okay, from everywhere. Okay, thank you for being there. Well, so, my name is G, right? And my partner, colleague, and best friend next to me is Belu. And before we start sharing what we have prepared for you, we would like to thank you all for being here. We know that many of you have already started working with students. And maybe if you haven't, you might have had a hectic week planning and organizing this year's schedule. So again, thank you. Thank you because being here on a Friday afternoon says a lot about your commitment towards your profession. And we would also like to thank the British Council for inviting us once again to this wonderful event for teachers of English. During the ELT week, we always get lots of practical ideas ready to put into practice. And we also get plenty of food for thought, right, to reflect upon our teaching practice. So thank you, Robert. Thank you, Mariela. Thank you, Romina, Liliana. It's always a pleasure to work with you. And we have decided to call our talk The Empowered Educator, Thriving in the Classroom, Professional and Personal Growth, because we hope that during this presentation, and once the talk is over as well, you can reflect upon your teaching practice and also get new insights as regards the way in which you face challenges, okay? So before we dive into today's talk, we would like to share with you a bit about ourselves. Maria has already said a bit about ourselves already. But, as she said, Belu and I have been teaching for more than 20 years. Oh, God. Well, actually, we met working at school. We were the youngest teachers of the staff at that time, right, Belu?
Yeah.
And well, we've always had this idea of creating something together. And in the midst of the pandemic, we saw the need of teachers to support each other. And that's how the Teaching Touch was born, right? The Teaching Touch is a flourishing community of educators. Well, that's our social media. It is a space where we share tips and resources for teachers, a place where we also share information about our workshops, as we are teacher trainers and have delivered talks in different educational institutions and conferences. But it is also a place where we share our everyday lives as teachers, with all the ups and downs, right, of being a teacher. So, well, as you can see, our social media, it's kind of a mix, but utterly connected with teaching. And well, we don't know if you already know us, but if you don't, we invite you to explore our social media, and of course, you are welcome to be part of it. So, without further ado, I'll give Belu the floor.
Okay, thanks, G. Good afternoon, everyone. As G was saying, we are delighted to be here. So the main purpose of our session is to empower educators through self-awareness and practical tools today. So when we were preparing this talk, we tried to think of a hands-on workshop. So we prepared 2 or 3 written tasks that you will be doing with us. So we would ask you to grab some paper or a notebook, a pen or a pencil, and to be ready to participate actively. Okay, so we're going to start by discussing what we understand by reflective practice. We will analyze the amount of time that we actually devote to it. We know that sometimes it's quite difficult to assign quality time, but we believe that it's crucial and it is essential for our practice as well. Then we're going to dive into this idea of the power of the beliefs, and we will be talking about limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. And we will be sharing with you some techniques and some tools that you may use in order to reframe beliefs and to turn those limiting beliefs into more empowering ones, right? Okay, and last but not least, we will be sharing with you the GROW model or the GROW method. The GROW model is actually a coaching framework that helps people to set goals, objectives, and to plan different steps and actions in order to achieve them. We believe that it's a very useful tool that you may use for your professional life, but also, for your personal life as well. And of course, we will be devoting some time for questions and answers as well. So let's get started then.
Okay, so first of all, we would like to ask you a question. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear the words reflective practice? What do you understand by reflective practice? So we invite you to use the chat, right, and share your thoughts, right? So what do you understand by reflective practice? First thing that comes to your mind, okay? So, autocritic, thought-provoking exercise, okay, right. Okay, to think deeply what to teach, all right. Introspection, giving feedback, common sense practice, consider carefully what we teach, how we do it, and why. Okay. All right. I think why we're teaching. They go so fast, but that's great because you're participating a lot. Lovely. Critical thinking, one self-assessment, to think about what to teach and why. Okay, right. To be compassionate too. Okay. Evaluate.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, well, thank you. You know that we completely agree with all of you. When we were preparing this talk with G, we came to the conclusion that for us, reflective practice, it's a process. And it's the process maybe of examining, of reflecting upon our daily practice. But at the same time, we believe that we do this in order to gain insights, to improve our actions, to get better results, and to grow both personally and professionally at the same time. So we wanted to share with you a kind of system. It's actually a 6-step system. That this would be like the first technique or the first practical tool that we will be sharing with you today from Gibbs. So G,
right.
Off we go.
Okay. Well, Graham Gibbs, right? He was a British educational theorist who developed this so-called Gibbs reflective cycle, right? Back in 1988. And he's a psychologist and expert in learning and teaching strategies, particularly in higher education. And his work focused on experiential learning, encouraging people, especially teachers and students, to reflect on their experiences to improve their skills and performance. And we wanted to share with you Gibbs' reflective cycle because it is a simple step-by-step method to help you think about past experiences, learn from them, and improve for the future. Think about past experiences, learn from them, and improve for the future. And it has, as you can see there, it has 6 steps, right? They go like a loop, right? So let's start with the light blue circle over there, the one that says description, right? Here, you might ask yourself, okay? The question here would be, what happened? Okay, it is the step where you explain the situation without opinions or analysis, okay? Let's think of an example related to teaching, okay? For instance, let's say I gave a lesson and my students didn't seem engaged, okay? So you move on to the next step, the one that says feelings. Here the question would be, what were you thinking and feeling? Here you would describe your emotions and thoughts at the time. Let's continue with this example related to teaching, right? For example, I felt frustrated and unsure if they understood the topic. So you move on to evaluation, okay? And here you ask yourself, what was good and what was bad? You identify what worked well and what didn't. For example, you might say, well, the content was useful, right? But maybe my explanations were too fast, or they were not very accurate, okay? Taking into account the age of my audience, okay? So you move on to analysis. And the question here is, why did it happen? Here you think about the reasons behind the situation. For example, you might say, well, maybe I didn't check for understanding often enough, right? I was just like parroting, right? And I didn't check if my audience was following me. And then you move on to conclusion. And you ask yourself, okay, so what have I learned? You identify key takeaways to improve next time. So for example, let's continue with the same example. I might say, well, next time I need to ask more questions. Next time I need to adjust my pace. But this doesn't stop here, because now we move on to the action plan. So question here, what will I do differently? You decide on specific steps to improve. For example, well, next time I will pause more often and use interactive activities. Okay? So why do we recommend applying Gibbs reflective cycle? Because well, we thought of 3 reasons, okay? First of all, it's easy to follow. It breaks reflection into clear steps. It helps you learn. You don't just think about what happened, but how to improve. And it also encourages growth, okay? It turns mistakes into learning opportunities, right? We are so used to telling our students, well, right, mistakes are welcome, right? But how much of that do we really do that? Do we really apply, right, for ourselves, right? So, well,
yes.
Belu?
We actually, yes, we believe that it's essential, as G was saying. It also increases self-awareness about teaching habits and emotional responses. It helps us to identify what is actually working and what needs adjustment. At the same time, we believe that it encourages intentional teaching, you know, the one that has to do with our core values. And as she was saying before, it helps us to keep on growing both professionally and personally at the same time. So now we want to invite you to use the chat and, well, G, and please tell us the following.
Okay. How often do you reflect on your teaching practices? Okay. Maybe you can take a couple of seconds, right? Think, right, as we're doing there with Belu in the picture. Okay, and maybe you can answer right there in the chat. You can comment, I don't know, very often, quite often, good, Marcia, good, very often, not that often, always, ever. Okay, quite often, after every class, very often, every lesson, usually daily, almost every day. Okay. Quite often, actually, after each class, always, usually at the end of the week, quite often, but not too deep, always, almost every day.
Okay, and what about the impact?
Okay, right. Second question for you. What impact does reflection have on your personal growth and professional effectiveness? What impact does reflection have on your personal growth and professional effectiveness? Okay. All my life, usually, often, positive here right? Especially with weak students. Okay, maybe some of them are from the very first question.
Okay.
Okay. A positive one, okay, there. A huge impact. I revise practices. I look forward to, okay, I couldn't finish reading that. The very positive, it helps me improve my lesson planning and delivering. Okay. I'm always I couldn't follow that one. It's moving so fast. It helps me.
Okay. Well, let's pass on to our first activity. So as I was saying before, grab a pen or pencil, some paper or a notebook, because this is for you, actually. We won't be sharing it. But the idea is the following. The idea is to have a guided reflection that will help us understand what is coming next. Okay, this will pave the way to what is coming next. That is actually beliefs and all the work that we will be doing with limiting beliefs and empowering ones. So let's get started. The first thing that we would like you to do is to reflect, to think about and reflect upon a challenging teaching experience that you had to go through, that you had to face. Maybe it was last year, maybe, I don't know, it was 5 years ago, maybe it was yesterday or this morning, actually. So the first question is, try to describe the situation briefly. What happened? We're not going to follow this 6-step program or 6-step system that G explained some minutes ago. We're going to use something different that, of course, this could be a second tool that you may use for your reflective practice. So the first thing that we would like you to do is to describe what happened. Okay, second question, what were your thoughts and feelings in that moment? So during this experience, what were your thoughts and feelings? Write them down. You know, like we say to our students, like, write them down. Okay, and the third one, what belief or beliefs about yourself, about your students, or about teaching, about our profession, you had during this experience? What were the beliefs underneath? What were you thinking? I mean, about yourself, about the way in which you do things? All right, and the last one, how did this belief influence your reaction or decision making? And we're going to use all this information for what's coming next. So, we will be talking about 2 different types of beliefs, the limiting beliefs and the empowering ones. And we're going to give you some examples.
Right, as Belu said, in the field of beliefs, we can mention 2 very different types of beliefs, right, as she said. Those which are limiting and hold us back, making us doubt our abilities and fear failure, and those which are empowering and give us confidence, fuel our growth, right, and push us to take on challenges, right? And addressing the importance of beliefs is key, because I know people might sometimes be let's say skeptic, right, about this, but addressing the importance of beliefs, we believe it is key, because the way we interpret success, setbacks, and opportunities is directly influenced by the beliefs we carry. Okay, and here we have included some examples of limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs, right? So limiting beliefs, well, for example, I'm not experienced enough to handle this, okay, right? And that's it, okay? There's no room for improvement. Or if students aren't engaged, I must be doing something wrong. Or I have to control every aspect of the classroom, right? On the other hand, examples of empowering beliefs, every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. I can adapt and seek support when necessary. We know that we teachers, right, need to support each other, right? And we always learn, right? We are always learning, right? Student engagement is a shared responsibility, okay? There's room for improvement when we have limiting beliefs, right? And remember that recognizing and challenging limiting beliefs while reinforcing empowering ones is essential for personal and professional growth, okay? Remember that the mind is a powerful tool. What we believe shapes what we achieve, okay? So don't forget that, okay? The power that our mind has on us, right? And of our beliefs, right? So now, right, that we have been talking about beliefs, right? Bailey would like to share something related to.
Yes, we're going to be talking about reframing now, but before that, we wanted to mention, Carol Dweck. We know that for the teachers that are part from our community, we always try to include some of her work. Carol Dweck is an American psychologist, and she talks about growth mindset and fixed mindset. And we believe that this is highly connected with this idea of limiting beliefs and empowering beliefs. Then we wanted to include Rafael Echeverria. He's a sociologist. Maybe you are familiar with all his work as well, from Chile. And Robert Dilts, he is a specialist in neuro-linguistic programming. He is from North America, okay? And we also wanted to, when we were preparing this talk, we said, I know, but we have to mention Stanislao Bachrach, because we've read so much about all his work and all his research as well about the brain and the beliefs as well, and the power of words and the power, this what you were saying, right? Like we should be like very careful with what we say to ourselves, about ourselves, So we wanted to include one of the one quote from an interview that he gave, and it's in Spanish, because he said, when we wanted to respect, of course, the Spanish this time, he said, el cerebro se basa en tu toma de decisiones y en que vos te digas a vos misma, esto es verdad, esto es mentira, esto sucede, esto no sucede, en tu sistema de creencias. El verbo más importante del ser humano es en qué estás creyendo. So if you believe that you can't, your brain will find lots of different arguments, logical and emotional arguments to show that you're right. So therefore, you won't be able to achieve it. So now we wanted to share with you different techniques or tools that you may use in order to reframe your beliefs, in order to turn these limiting beliefs into empowering ones. And the first one we wanted to share with you is direct reframing. That it seems to be like quite simple, because the idea here is only to restate this negative belief in a more positive one, like actually changing, like literally, the words of what you're saying. Instead of saying, I'm not good at this, well, maybe you should try by saying, I'm still learning and improving. The second one is the perspective shift. So here the idea is to change the perspective, to change, to be able to see as the same situation, but from a different angle. So maybe, as she was saying before, when she was talking about students' engagement, imagine the situation, right? Well, you finished the lesson, you finished delivering a lesson, and you feel that it was a mess, that your students weren't engaged. Okay, but what if your students' engagement is not, I mean, we know that we are responsible for it, but it's not just about us, you know? It's like, it's not like everything on us. There may be other factors that influence. So this idea of being able to see the same situation, but from a different point of view. And the last one that we wanted to share with you is the possibility or the ability of using these what if questions, asking hypothetical questions to challenge your own assumptions, and therefore to explore different possibilities. So, I mean, if we want different results, but we keep on doing the same things, if we keep doing the same things, we will always get the same results, right? So what if we start asking ourselves if we could do things differently? If we could try different approaches, if we could try different activities. Well, now we're going to pass on to the second activity. We would like you to be able to reflect upon one of your limiting beliefs and to be able to reframe it. By using some of the examples that we have given you, the idea is the following. Choose one limiting belief that you have identified and reframe it into a more empowering one. So we would like you to write it down, actually. If you want, you can share it with us in the chat. But if not, well, this is for you. Write the original belief and the reframed one. Okay? We're going to devote 2 minutes, more or less, to do this activity. Here we included other examples, like the original belief, I have to be perfect in every lesson. I have to be perfect in every lesson. And the reframed one, I am constantly learning and mistakes help me improve.
And the importance of writing this down, right, Belu?
Yes.
I was thinking of my students sometimes when I ask them to copy something from the whiteboard, and sometimes they ask, but why do we have to write it? Sometimes I share things on Google Classroom or whatever, but sometimes I do make them write them down. And I tell them I always tell them that when you write down things, you are showing your brain that is important, okay? It's like, right, reinforcing that, right? And when you write it down, you show you show the brain that it is important. So that's why we are asking you to do it that way. Okay. Meanwhile, I will check the chat a bit.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, I need. Okay. Original belief. I have to know every word. Another original belief. I need more minutes to finish the topic. I used to shout, asking for silence. I didn't do it anymore. No result. Too much noise inside and outside. Or I have to be in control of every aspect. I can't control everything or everyone, but I can control how I react. Right. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely right. Original belief, I need to engage every student for a perfect class, right? Perfect, right? It's so difficult, right?
Actually impossible.
Do we also want perfect students, right? So, right? They don't need a perfect teacher, right? They need a teacher who can learn.
Okay, well, we invite you to keep on thinking upon this. G, why don't we move on to this part now?
Right. Well, because we have been talking, right, about reflective practice, the importance of beliefs, right, the power of our beliefs and the power it has on us, right? So now we invite you to watch this very, very short video, okay? And your while watching activity will be to try to connect, right, what we've been talking, right, with the different scenes, right, that you're going to watch, okay?
Yes. Have in mind this idea of reflective practice, of being present, of learning from these past experiences, of believing in yourself and in the power that you have to make things differently, right? Okay.
Noodles, don't noodles. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story. So, who are you, Panda?
Maybe it can, if you are willing to guide it, to nurture it, to believe in it.
But how? How? I need your help, Master.
No, you just need to believe. Promise me, Shifu. Promise me you will believe.
I will try.
Good.
Ow! Jeez, what was that for? It doesn't matter. It's in the past. Yeah, but it still hurts. Oh, yes, the past can hurt. But the way I see it, you can either run from it or learn from it. Ah! You see? So what are you going to do?
First, I'm gonna take your stick.
No, not a stick!
There is no secret ingredient. It's just you.
But we have to try. So no matter what type of animal you are, from the biggest elephant to our first fox, I implore you, try. Try to make the world a better place. Look inside yourself and recognize that change starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with all of us.
Okay, so how was it, right? Could you find these connections, right? I love that thing from Zootopia, right? This is, try to make the world, right, a better place, right? Aren't we as teachers doing that? And the other one, the Kung Fu, lots of Kung Fu Pandas fans, right? I love it as well. And when it says it, right, it's the rest of the story, of your story that matters, right? And believe in yourself, right? Okay, love that movie, great, okay, just beautiful. All right, so, well, we would also like to share 3 quotes with you, and we have picked these quotes because they address how beliefs shape behavior, growth, and success. And the first quote belongs to Henry Ford, and he said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." So this highlights how beliefs shape outcomes. If you believe in your abilities, then you're more likely to succeed, right? Next one belongs to Mahatma Gandhi, right? And he once said, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions become your habits become your values, and your values become your destiny, right? Here Gandhi emphasized how deeply beliefs influence every aspect of life, ultimately shaping our destiny. And our third quote for today is one that belonged to Theodore Roosevelt, right? And he said, believe you can, and you're halfway there. This quote speaks to the power of belief in driving motivation and achievement, right? So, Belu, are you going to revise the agenda?
Yes, yes, because we have already discussed what we understand by reflective practice. We have already talked about the power of beliefs, and now we're going to dive into the GROW method. So, the GROW model, as we said before, is a coaching framework and is a simple yet powerful framework for setting and achieving goals. This was a model developed by Sir John Whitmore and his colleagues in the 80s, more or less, in UK, in the United Kingdom. This is an acronym. So the G is from goal, R, reality, O, options, and W, will, that has to do with willingness. So the first thing that we have to do here is to think about a goal to achieve. So what do I want to achieve? This would be our goal. And a piece of advice, are you familiar with the concept of SMART, like a SMART goal? SMART is also an acronym. G, let me know if SMART, well, S, specific, M, measurable, A, attainable or achievable, R, relevant, and T, timely or time-bound. Well, the idea here is that your goal should be specific, your goal should be achievable and measurable, and it has to be relevant and timely. R, reality. Once you have decided, once you have chosen your goal, the idea is to think where you are standing in relation to this goal. O, options. What are your options? What you can do? What can I do to move forward? And W, will. Will has also to do with your commitment. What actions will you take and when? And I'm going to share an example with you. Imagine that my goal is to deliver online lessons all around the world, but I have to be specific. So my goal would be that by the end of this year, in December, I want to deliver at least 3 online lessons per day, every week, in English, of course, all around the world. So that is my goal. It's quite specific, right? And measurable and relevant and achievable and timely. That would be my goal. Now, reality, where I am now in relation to this goal. Maybe I need to start by buying a computer. because maybe I do not have a computer to be able to deliver these lessons. Or maybe I need to promote my lessons. So I will start by creating social media, a website, an Instagram account in order to promote my lessons, right? So options, depending on where I am standing right now in relation to this goal, I'm going to think of the different options that I have to move forward. And will has to do with your willingness and your commitment. So maybe the first action will be to save money in order to buy this computer that I need to deliver the lessons. Maybe another action would be to learn how I can use different programs or different apps in order to promote my lessons. So the idea now is that we will be, and this will be our last activity, I promise, of today, we will be working together with this GROW model, and we're going to have a kind of guided walkthrough. So prepare your pen because we are about to start. So we would like you to think of one area in your teaching or in your life that you would like to improve or that you would like to develop. Remember what we said. Here, the important thing is to be specific, okay? Something that we can measure, something that we can achieve, something that is relevant. So think about this goal and write it down. So what specific results do I want to achieve?
Okay, do write it down, okay? Do not cheat, okay? Remember the importance of writing things down, okay?
No, please, write it down. Here we included 2 examples, like I want to create engaging lesson plans that reduce student distractions. I want to establish better work-life balance this semester. So, second one, our reality. Now reflect on your current situation. What is happening now? What challenges or obstacles are you facing now in relation to, this goal that you would like to achieve? So our examples, or following the goal that we have, or the goals that we have chosen, would be: I struggle to find time for lesson planning due to administrative tasks, or I feel drained after work and I don't prioritize self-care. So think about your present situation now.
There are some people sharing. Belu, shall I read some?
Okay, great.
I don't have enough time nor support from my coordinators. I want to encourage students to be more active in class. I want my students to enjoy lessons. I want to improve the participation of my students with engaged lessons. I want my students not to feel afraid when they have to do an oral presentation. I want to teach better through technology. I want to foster motivation for shy students. I do not have enough knowledge for that.
Okay. Well, let's pass on to the options now. So let's explore the possible actions that you could take, the options that you have. So what are some ways that I can move forward? What resources or support could help? our examples following these goals that we have mentioned. Okay, I'm going to block 30 minutes weekly for lesson planning, or I'm going to learn time management strategies. So think about the different options that you may have. And write them down. Consider those options. All right, and the last one now, will. Okay, we want you to commit small specific action, something, the first step that you will take in order to get, to move forward to this goal that you would like to achieve. So what is that specific action that you will do? What is that step that you will take? And when you will take it and how you will do it. Okay, if you want, you can share these actions with us. Our examples, okay, starting Monday. This is very important to include when it is that you're studying. No, I'm going to start, no, but when? Okay, starting Monday, I will set aside 30 minutes on Fridays, specific on Fridays, for lesson planning. Or the second one, I will try a 5-minute mindfulness exercise before class each day next week.
For example, here there's one that says, well, I'm going to schedule 1 hour every Friday in my calendar for planning and try to keep it. Okay.
Great.
Right. Well, there are lots of comments, but some of them belong to the previous steps.
Yes, because there's some delay, right? Mm-hmm.
I will use, okay, the weekends to review my classes.
Okay. Then we can continue the conversation. All right, well, let's move on, She.
Okay, so, well, we are getting to the end of this talk. Remember that small steps lead to big changes. And actually, you've already taken the first step by identifying your goal and planning an action. And that's a lot, okay? So now, yes, to wrap up this talk, we would like to share part of a poem by Michelle Williamson, who is an American author, political activist, and a teacher, okay? So it says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? So, thank you very much. We truly enjoyed sharing this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you both, She and Belu. This was a very inspiring and motivating talk for teachers. We have so many comments in the chat about goals that they are setting themselves and steps to achieve those goals. And I think that's the main objective of these talks, to inspire teachers to start off the year on the right foot. So a massive thank you. We don't have a lot of time, but we still have a couple minutes. So if you guys have questions in the chat, make sure you leave them there. In the meantime, I picked up a few comments that I wanted to mention. You talked a lot about reflective teaching and gave some very good ideas for teachers to do this. And in the chat, there was a bit of side conversation. My very esteemed colleague, Mariana Goldman, shared that they've been doing something like that since 2012 at Lenguas, at the Ateneo Permanente de Problemas de la Práctica Real Docente, which is a free space every Monday from 6 to 8. So if you are in the city of Buenos Aires, this is something that you might want to check out. Sometimes reflective practice individual.
Yes, that sounds great.
So if we can encourage people to join your local communities of practice, your local teacher association, to get together with other teachers in your staff room to talk about things.
So enriching. Absolutely. Yeah.
I have a comment from Nat, who recommends that she started meditation and also breathing workshops, which helped a lot when facing difficulties in the classroom. What do you guys do for self-care and to make you feel better?
Well, I dance, for example.
Well, actually, I take yoga classes.
Yeah. And actually, that's like 8:30.
Yes, I take yoga and I also meditate.
Yes.
All of that sounds great. I do a bit of dancing myself, and I'm very bad at it, but it's very liberating.
I also do some breathing exercises with my students as well, right? In primary, secondary school as well. Also before exams, right? Sometimes they have to sit these very long mock exams, right? And it's so useful to take like a couple of very short minutes. Maybe I tell them to breathe, right? So yeah, sometimes I do that as well.
We have lots of other ideas in the chat as well. People doing yoga, swimming, playing the piano, doing Pilates, taekwondo, painting, pottery, boxing. All of that helps because part of self-care is also doing other things and not just spending all your free time lesson planning and thinking about your lessons.
Right.
Have you guys set any goals yourselves?
Yes,
for 2025? Right.
Sorry, I think it got, like, the video got
cut off. No, I was wondering if you would like to share your goals for 2025 with the audience. This can be a little time capsule. So if we meet again in ELT Week 2026, we can hear about how that went. You can't hear me, can you?
I can't hear her.
You meant our goals for, I mean, our
yes.
personal goals,
your
or are you
goals.
asking people? Okay. Well, still writing them down, okay. But both Belu and I, like we call ourselves lifelong learners, right? I believe all teachers are lifelong learners, so we are always like. We always want to learn more, and maybe, I don't know, now it has to do with AI. So we've taken some courses on that to get more like knowledge, to acquire more knowledge regarding to AI, and had to put it into practice. In my case, I work in secondary school, so I've also decided to maybe do something related to, how to continue improving my relationship, right, with teenage students, right, how to engage them and to grab their attention, right? I used to be a primary teacher, right? And everything I brought was like, yeah, we want to do that, right? Who wants to read? Okay, me. And then you go to secondary school, okay, and say, okay, who would like to read? And they are like so it's always like trying to motivate, because then motivate them. But then when you do motivate them, they are so great. And well, I'm still learning about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. I have one last question from Milagros in the chat, who is asking, do you consider appropriate to use this GROW model with students? For example, a student who is struggling with a difficulty in class.
Belu, could you hear that?
Well, actually, I believe that it depends on, because the important, yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay, yes. Great. No, because the most important thing of the GROW model is to have a goal. And you have to be the one who decides on the goal. So it depends on the age of the student, but the student will be the one who has to have the goal. It can't be something that you do for someone. I don't know if it is clear. I mean, if the student has a goal, maybe you can help him in order to achieve this goal. But it's the student, the one who has to be able to identify this goal that he or she would like to achieve.
Definitely.
It is not something that we can force someone to do.
Right. And it's the same thing for limiting beliefs and what you mentioned about reframing. It's interesting to try and sometimes share those strategies for reframing with students, especially older students who come into your classroom with like, oh, I'm terrible at English. I studied English for 20 years and I can't say hello. This is not for me. So perhaps that's something that we can encourage learners to explore as well.
Right.
All right,
yes.
So I think we need to wrap this up. Linked to Xi's objective for development, we do have another session coming up, and it's going to touch a little bit on AI, so you can stick around and start working on your goal. So a big thank you. Do go back and read the comments in the chat, because there was so much and lovely contributions from participants, and we don't have the time to read all of them, unfortunately. So thank you for being with us at ELT Week again, and we hope to see you very, very soon.
Okay, thank you, Maria. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. And now I'm going to introduce our very final session. Can you believe it? So to close our ELT week, we have invited Karina Zew. She's an experienced educator with an MA in Applied Linguistics and TESOL from the University of Portsmouth. And with over 35 years of teaching experience and over 20 years as a teacher trainer, Karina is a recognized expert in TESOL, curriculum development, and leveraging technology for enhanced language learning. She's a proponent of the communicative approach. She has presented at numerous webinars and conferences, including at TEFL last year. And Karina is passionate about empowering teachers to innovate with strategies and practical tools to create engaging and effective learning environments. So we are going to give a very, very warm welcome to Karina Zew.
Hi, Mariela. Hi, everybody. Thank you. That was a wonderful introduction. So thank you so much. So yeah, last session, we've been here for a full week, listening to 9 wonderful conferences, and I hope to wrap this up on a nice note. I'm going to be a little bit disruptive today because everybody's had a British accent and mine is American. So I'm going to be the first American English accent speaker here. So yes, the webinar today is going to be about artificial intelligence, but the human aspect of artificial intelligence. We've been having some talks. I know Pilar on Monday talked about, developed a wonderful lesson plan on artificial intelligence, using that for first day of class. And it was amazing. If you haven't watched it, please go back and review it because it's wonderful. But then also, Jake talked about the future of teachers, because with all this AI, are we still going to be needed? So yes, of course. So I'm going to transition a little bit into that human aspect of AI, how to leverage AI, but still keep that human touch in there. So a little bit of the overview of today is to talk about that potential of AI in second language education, how to integrate that into our language teaching, and what our role from that AI perspective is going to be. So to do that, I'm going to go over 6 different aspects: the role in education, the benefits of AI for us teachers, our role, our essential role, tools and techniques, and some challenges that we're going to face with this AI, because there's tons of challenges. And then I'm going to finalize with some practical insights that we might need to think of as teachers, the skills that we need to develop and that we need to learn. You will be able to download this presentation, and at the end, there are 2 wonderful prompts that you can use for ChatGPT that I hope you like them. So everybody ready? Yes? Ready? Okay. And let's get started. I see people all around. All right, so a little bit of history, because this is not new. I mean, internet, computers, they've been here for quite a while. And one of the main concerns about ChatGPT that I've heard lately is that students are cheating. They submit essays that are made with ChatGPT, and that's like a big no-no. But this has been around for a while, right? How many times have we researched and copied and pasted from Wikipedia? Or most people here are from Argentina, so I'm sure you remember Rincón del Vago. So this is not new. I mean, going to the internet and checking and bringing some stuff and using it, research on the internet, that's not new. So what's the difference? Now, there's a main difference between search engines in Google and artificial intelligence. So this might help understand a little bit more about, keeping in mind what Leandro was talking about, digital citizenship. When we learn a little bit more about the importance of computers and how they work, we might understand what Jake referred to as the future of teachers. So this all ties together. So let's go into the difference between search engines and ChatGPT. First of all, Google is like a huge collection of everything that's online, exactly as it is online. So you type a word wrong, it won't find it, right? So you have to be super, super precise, super exact. However, artificial intelligence uses 2 main things, which are natural language processing. That's one, and ITS is another. Now, what's this? So NLP allows computers to use speech recognition and mainly sentiment analysis, the emotional tone of language. This means that we have that ginormous amount of language on the internet. We have this language corpus, and then linguistic analysis of that corpus, meaning everything that's online is analyzed by linguists, and it looks at the semantic meaning of everything that's said. So computers can now recognize the topic, even though it's not stated exact. It can interpret the underlying intention of what's being said. Meaning you say something in sarcasm, and it will understand it as sarcastic, because there are a bunch of other times in which it was used as sarcasm. So this would let computers understand as if they were humans understanding speech, which is something that Google could not do before. And on top of that, we have a computer program that kind of replicates the guidance of a tutor. What does this mean? It looks at your answer, and maybe it can think of ways to help you identify weak points and give you feedback. There are many applications online that help with this and that give you like a different exercise based on your previous response. And this is wonderful. It's called Adaptive, and it is absolutely fascinating. So all this leads to a personalized learning experience. AI would give us the benefit of personalizing that learning experience, making sure that we have adaptive feedback, meaning we can give feedback depending on what happened before. There's tons of platforms like Duolingo, Babbel, there's FlowSpeak. There's a lot of platforms that allow students to do some conversational practice, meaning they can talk to the AI and the AI will respond imitating a conversation with a human. Of course, imitating being the key word here. It can help for pronunciation. It will tell you where you're having difficulties in pronunciation. However, this is something I'm going to touch on a little bit later because there are certain limitations of pronunciation in the AI so far. And this would allow us to use blended methods in which we can have teachers and AI working together for a better classroom experience. Now, this is the role that we have in education right now. We can work with pronunciation, conversation, interactive experiences, adaptive feedback. What are the benefits of using AI? I want to ask you, and I would like you to type in the chat box. What do you think is good about AI? Because we're going to see what AI can do, and then we're going to see what it can't do. So what do you think? What are some of the benefits? I'd like to read. Oh, the right prompts. Yes. Yes, exactly. It looks like they're, yeah, that is one of the problems that we're having with AI. Students give the right prompts and they, it looks like their own answer net. So yes, you're right about that. It saves time, says Javier and Cecilia. Yes, it does the mechanical parts easy. Fast. A lot of information, Mariana, yes. If used appropriately, it helps me make up exercises, says Clarissa. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about prompts and how to make our own exercises. To expand a little bit more on what Pilar was talking about with making exercises. So yes, it does help a lot. Some of the benefits are with manual planning. It helps us with time-consuming lesson preparation. We can prepare lesson quickly. We saw that. It's very easy, and the lessons are wonderful, and they're very tailored to the needs of your students. So yes, it is very time-saving with manual planning, with automated tasks. We could have the AI work on, let's say, first day of school. We're about to start the school year. First day of school. You give your students an online exercise. Have them send you by email, so you can just copy and paste later. Have them send you by email their interests. You can send them a questionnaire or Google Forms or something. And if you don't know what questions to ask, you can ask ChatGPT for help on first day to find out what your students' interests are. Feed that to the AI, and it'll give you like topics for classroom activities that will help you plan the rest of the year. And then automated tasks that can help you with attendance, with exam scores. It will allow you to automate and save time on manual tasks that were previously so time-consuming. It can help us customize materials. It can enhance engagement because we analyze the data that our students provide and we offer better classroom experiences for them. And after the whole process, our teaching will become more efficient if used correctly. We can also look at assessments. We have tests in class, students answer, and we can feed that to the AI and find patterns in their mistakes. So then we know where to reinforce as a full class, and we don't have to do that one by one. But then there are many things that the AI can't do. Because otherwise, if we stay here, it looks like a dream come true, right? And then what Jake said about the future of teachers, why do they need us? So yeah, there are many things that AI cannot do. Of course, as knowledge transmission, yes, we transmit knowledge as teachers, so can the AI. But as teachers, we're also counselors. We also mentor our students. We provide emotional support, emotions like Gabriela is saying, and role modeling. This means there's academic integrity. We need to make sure that as teachers, we can offer that academic integrity that the AI cannot, and the motivational support. This whole thing about the human element is so crucial in the role of a teacher. And here is one part where I wanted to work with you on the difference between AI and the human touch. Because one of the theories, I don't know if you, let me know if you're familiar with the prosodic bootstrap theory. Anybody in here has ever heard of that? I'm reading you in the comments. Prosodic bootstrap theory. Anybody? Okay, it basically says that prosodic features of speech helps infants like bootstrap into more complex linguistic structures. What does this mean? This means that when the mother says, "Oh, how nice," and like that rising pitch of voice, that helps identify meaning. That provides, that helps infants with first language acquisition. They learn that, and then from there on, they can move on to more complex structures because prosody, like for example, prosody is the rise and fall of pitch. It's the pause between tone units. It's how we connect words together. And it helps with understand the boundaries between phrases. It helps distinguish what a question and a statement are. It does provide meaning whenever that rise of pitch is not the same as "I told you not to do that," like, "Oh, what a good thing you just did," and that like pitch rise. That is something that, whether you agree with this theory or not as a first language acquisition first step, what we cannot argue is that there is meaning in prosodic features. And that meaning is something that the AI model still cannot imitate. In fact, if we look at the pronunciation, we were talking about before over here with the pronunciation improvement, there's a big gap in AI with pronunciation because it is not able to mimic connected speech as well. For example, if I connect my words together, I just said words together, and that is considered an error in the AI. If I speak like that, the AI will consider it an error. And it will help me improve my speech by separating word by word. And so prosody, connected speech, the inflection, the change in pitch, that is something the AI still cannot mimic exactly like humans. And this not only conveys meaning, but it also conveys emotion. When we rise or pitch, we're excited. When we don't, we're not. Exactly, Clarissa, no accents in the AI. That's something, it's kind of on purpose because it wants to take away that bias of accent difference. And I think it took it a little bit too far. But yeah, I'm sure with not much time, but with some time, they're gonna improve that for sure because this is progressing like really fast. But up to now, it can't convey emotional nuances like in prosody the same way humans do. AI can generate speech with varying tones, but not as complex and as subtle as humans. So yeah, that's one place where we are different from the AI, and that is something that can lead to motivation. Emotional intelligence, teachers work with emotions, teachers work with passion, and this leads to let's think of it this way. The AI has badges, leaderboards, and like streaks you follow. You take some English course through an app and you go to a streak 1 week and then you get a badge, silver badge. And then you go 2 weeks, you get the bronze. Do a full month, you get the gold badge, and so on. But let's try to think back at when your teacher was really proud of something that you did in class. What was that feeling like? Can we compare that feeling of, oh, my teacher's so proud of me, like I did really well? Can we compare that to an electronic badge that the AI gave me? So this is something that will lead to passion, motivation. And we know that a motivated student will definitely achieve better results in English. So the feedback that the AI provides is based on data analysis. It takes a lot of data and it gives you its feedback. But empathy and understanding, making your teacher proud, that is something that only we have. So that is really important as a teacher. In the teacher's role, on the teacher's side, what the AI cannot do is motivate the same way that apps do. And to be honest, I started a lot like trying to do like workouts and downloaded some gym apps and was great for a week. And then I got like the 1 week streak badge and then just left it. It's not, oh, I'm going to go back next week and show my teacher what I learned. And this is something that we need to take into account. And another important thing that teachers can do and the AI can't is anything that is connected to social skills, like having a class, having them work together, communicate, incorporate teamwork, critical thinking. This is something that we can put together, AI and teachers' role, because we can have them work on critical thinking by analyzing some things about the AI. Like, let's do, everybody go to the AI and write an essay and have the AI write an essay. And then you can analyze what the AI wrote and see if it follows a structure, if there's anything you would improve, if there's something that's missing, if there's something that surprised you. Like, inspire that critical thinking in your students for them to challenge the AI. And of course, meaningful discussions is something that only teachers can generate in group class, and you kind of know your students, you know what they're looking for, you know what they want, and you have them discuss, and that is like so engaging. When that moment happens, it's like that magical moment that is so good for learning. That's when learning happens, when the negotiation of meaning and speaking takes place. And collaborative learning, have them incorporate teamwork, help each other, shared experiences. That is something that also the AI cannot imitate and cannot produce, of course. And as Marcella talked about sustainability a couple of days ago, sustainability, inclusivity, safe environment, human connection, these are all things that only teachers can foster. Yeah, it is said that the AI is unbiased, for example, and it can include whatever type of learner we have out there. But we're going to talk about bias a little bit more when we talk about the challenges. AI can't give you a hug. So true, Gabriela. Yes, excellent. Okay, so tools and techniques. I read in the chat and then it went away. I read something about GPTs versus Chat GPT. So the thing is, we have the option of going to Chat GPT or Gemini. Somebody like Gemini a little bit more in the chat here, I saw. Whatever chat you're using, let's try to go and type in the chat box something like, give me a lesson for paraphrasing, and see what lesson comes out. I would really like you to do that. Like, Please write a lesson plan to teach students paraphrasing. I'm going to copy that in the chat box so you can just copy and paste it. And we can see what happens, you know. It's pretty interesting because then I have another prompt for you to work on. So I'll give you 2 seconds to copy and paste that. And then let's see if the word count allows me to paste this whole thing. Yes, it does. I tried Gemini. I kind of like ChatGPT a little bit more, but because I'm used to it. Now I would like you to try, oh no, it won't let me type the whole prompt. Okay, it's too long. I'll write it in pieces. So first part. It's still not letting me type the whole thing. Okay, you're going to have to copy and paste many prompts. So I'm going to ask you to please not write for 2 seconds in the chat box until I complete the whole prompt. I'm almost there. Okay. Yay, finished. All right, so that's my prompt. As you can see, one prompt was very short, like helping with paraphrasing, and the other one had tons of details. And that is something that we need to feed the AI with. We need to include as much detail as possible because the AI will only do what we tell them to do. That's a little bit of prompt engineering, that's what it's called. And what I wanted to mention here is that there are GPTs as well, and 2 sites there of 2 GPTs that I've found that you can find them if you go to ChatGPT. It's right there where it says Explore GPTs. So what is a GPT? GPT are pre-trained models that give you more relevant responses when you ask for something. When you ask for it, you give it a prompt and it already knows what ESL is, what B1 is, because otherwise the ChatGPT won't know. Actually, there's so many, Techie, Copilot, Gemini, there's tons of AI tools that you can use. But they're all, if you have the right prompt, no matter which one you use, you can get the right answer. So the key is having the right prompt or using a pre-trained model. Pre-trained models, as I said, GPTs, are ChatGPT versions that were fed with information already. So it's a lot easier to get a correct response from GPTs. The free version of ChatGPT only lets you ask like a couple of prompts to the GPTs, and then it tells you can come back 3 hours later, which is a little bit frustrating, but it is helpful. If you have the right prompt, then it will give you an answer quite quickly and quite accurate as well. Okay, a little bit about challenges that we have with AI. Some challenges and considerations. First of all, it's not infallible. AI is not trustworthy. It can hallucinate. In fact, I have a colleague. What I copy-pasted was the prompt that you can feed ChatGPT to get a lesson plan. I had to split it into several different sentences because it was too long. This was basically to share a prompt that I used and that created a really good lesson plan. And it was very different from the original one because the original, one of the things that I noticed about ChatGPT is that you give me a lesson plan and it says, yeah, do some warm-up activities and then give them an exercise and a reading and do some practice activities with them. Like, yeah, what practice activities? What do I say in the warm-up? What am I contrasting? So if you're specific enough, like I want this for the warm-up, give me the material for the reading, give me an exercise, and it will. So that was what I wanted to demonstrate with what I put in the chat box. If you download these slides, at the end, you'll have 2 wonderful prompts that I use, both of them, and they're really good. One for paraphrasing, the one I copied here, another one for phrasal verbs. But back to challenges. Misinformation. Sometimes the information that the AI gives us is not correct. Why? Because one of the things that AI does not do very well is to say, I don't know. It will not say, I don't know. If it does not have that information, it'll make it up, which leads to hallucinations. A colleague of mine, he teaches a PhD course in Canada. Ken Beatty, I'm sure you know him because he published tons of books. And he was telling me that he had a class of PhD students and he was working on AI, and he set them to do a task with AI in which they had to do something and analyze it, right? So they all went and asked, what did Ken Beatty say in his book so-and-so? Please write a summary and a reference. It was a perfect summary. It was a perfect APA 7 reference. It was excellent, well-written, well-structured, well-referenced. There was only one tiny thing that was wrong. He had never written that book. So it provided a summary and a reference for something that did not exist. And this is AI too. So there's misinformation, there's hallucination. One thing you can do for hallucination, to avoid hallucination, is check the temperature. There's a thing called temperature. If you close it down, it lets it be less creative. If you turn the temperature down, it's less creative and it'll make less things up. Jessica, I honestly don't know if they're using AI for homework. This is why I'm saying maybe your homework should include some sort of, hey, use AI and tell me what you find, because that's going to be something completely different, right? But yeah, as I said at the beginning, how did we know in the past? How many times? I mean, I know that I used Wikipedia for tons of school work. And then changed a couple of words so the teacher wouldn't find it. You know, we were sneaky back in the days, so were students. Okay, other things that I wanted to talk about is limitations in training data. Sometimes we don't feed the AI correctly. There's information that's missing. And as I said before, it won't say, I don't know. So that's also a challenge that we're facing. And bias. Oh, wait, how can the AI be biased? Yes, it can. First of all, because it works on algorithms. But who writes these algorithms? It's humans. And sometimes there's cultural biases that we're not even aware of. Sometimes, I mean, if I speak to a person in the UK, they might think, oh, this one is so rude. Why? Because the function, the pragmatics of language that we use within a certain culture might not translate to another. Or if we hear a person from the UK here, we're going to say, wow, that person is so polite and kind of like excessively polite. Why? Because the culture, the function, the pragmatics of language does not translate across cultures. And if somebody is developing code for an algorithm and is culturally biased, that will probably transmit into the AI as well. In fact, there are a couple of examples. Amazon, they had their hiring policies. They incorporate AI into their recruitment. And they noticed that the algorithm was favoring male over female. And this was because they had been feeding the AI with candidates from over the past 10 years. And most of the candidates that were applying over those 10 years for that job were men. And most of the ones that were selected were men. So then the AI assumed that male candidates were better than female. And that was algorithmic bias. There's also another problem with face recognition apps. They tend to be work less effectively with women and with darker colored skin, which could bring like a very big problem with law enforcement because, well, this could be a life risk situation and algorithmic bias could be a big problem. And the other thing that AIs don't do is fact check external data. Like if I type whatever into the AI, it will consider that true. It won't check whether or not I'm saying the right thing. So yes, we have many challenges that AI poses. So we need to create very, very meaningful discussions. We need to work on collaborative activities. We need to work on critical thinking. We need to work on social interaction. We need to work on sustainability, like Marcela said. And to be able to do all that, to be able to criticize the AI and to keep our essential role as humans, to be able to see that human side of the AI, we need skills. And we definitely need a whole set of skills. So what are the skills that teachers need? What skills can you think of? What do we need to know to be able to use AI from a human perspective? I'm reading. Anybody? Good to know about algorithm bias. Yes, it is good to know. Okay, I'm not seeing anything of any of the skills that we need to have as teachers. Fact check, empathy, critical thinking, flexibility. We need to be more human. Yes. Learn about it. Definitely, Selena. We need to learn about it. That is one thing. We need to keep an open mind, Renee. Exactly. So here are some of the skills that I wrote. Number one is the human-centered mindset. What does this mean? Well, this means we are going to use AI, but keeping in mind everything we said about the human touch, keeping in mind that we are counselors, that we are human, that we encourage, we motivate our students, we provide emotional support. And that is something we need to keep in mind constantly, whether they are using AI or we are using AI, the human touch needs to be there because the AI has many, many difficulties. I mean, honestly, I don't think language learning apps on their own without a teacher there with blended and hybrid learning, I don't think they could work as well. Another important thing, AI pedagogy. We need to be critical, and we need to foster that criticism as well. Because if we teach our students to criticize the AI, then that will allow them to do that fact check that AI can't do. We will allow them to monitor that the AI is not hallucinating. And of course, we will allow them to be the ones judging whether or not this AI is really helpful. And then ethics. There's one very important thing about ethics that I'm not sure if I'm frozen. I don't think so. Sorry, Liliana. Okay, ethics. One very important thing that we need to consider is data privacy. For example, I wanted to do a lesson. I was working with a company. They had their final end of the year report, and they wanted to do a lesson to help them present that report to their home office. Meaning I had to feed that report into the AI to work with those numbers and that information, but I can't because like we were talking about, like Leandro was talking about yesterday, the footprint that we leave behind, that electronic footprint, I just can't put information that's confidential into ChatGPT because that would bring me a very huge breach in confidentiality issues. So data privacy is a really big deal here that we need to be aware of, and we need to learn a little bit more about, like, what can we share with the AI and what can we not? Is the paid version of ChatGPT really protecting your information, or is it not? So there are many things that we need to consider in terms of ethics. And of course, something that many of you asked here, like ethics is also on the students' perspective as well. Are you using that to cheat, or are you using AI to learn more? And then, of course, as teachers, flexibility, adaptability, be ready to learn more, be ready to listen to what's going on out there, be ready to the changes that are coming. And collaborative skills. Talk to each other. Let's collaborate among us. There's tons of teachers. We're connected to all. Hey, how are you using AI? Oh, I'm using it this way. And keep that conversation going. Share your findings with your colleagues, and always be ready to collaborate, to share, and to learn from each other. So yeah, this is some very important things that we need to learn and that we need to be aware of. And one more thing that I wanted to say about AI is that the British Council has a wonderful website here. It's Practical Insights for Educators, and the website is there, but I'm also going to share the link in the chat box. So you can, oh no, that one? No, I think that is the link for the presentation. Sorry, give me 1 second. Wrong link shared. 1 second. So that, here it is. That link that's over here that I'm sharing in the chat box right now, the second one, not the first. The first, you can access that one too. It's the link to my presentation, by the way. But the second one, that's a link that will lead you to Practical Insights for Educators. And this is a lot of information that the British Council has on AI, on the use of AI. It has webinars, it has activities, resources, and anything you might need to start using and applying AI into your classrooms. So hopefully, after this whole week and after this whole session, my idea was to go through a little bit of what everybody said and expand a little bit more on the why the AI can't do what it can't do, to have a better knowledge and to have a better understanding of how we can position ourselves as educators and how we can include that human touch into our AI usage. So thank you very much for holding on to this last session. I am leaving and closing the door right behind me. So thank you, Mariela. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I hope you have questions for me so we can continue a couple of minutes more.
Thank you so much, Karina. It's nice to go full circle. We started off the week with Pilar Capau talking about ideas to use AI in the classroom for lesson planning, for creating materials and engaging lessons for learners. But we wanted to end with this session because this is also an angle that teachers need to learn about and to educate themselves on. With any new tool that comes out for teachers, we need to use things responsibly. This is also why we included Leandro Paladino's talk yesterday, because it's not just as easy, is it?
No.
We do have some questions. So I've been collecting some from the chat, and you guys can leave whichever other questions you have as well. There was some talk on the chat about homework and students cheating.
Yeah.
Personally, Karina, how do you know when students have used AI for writing an essay? What are the giveaways for you?
The giveaways are, well, first of all, I had a couple of essays once that they forgot to remove the stars that can, you know, when the AI turns into bold, they have double stars, and they forgot to remove that. That's one. The other one that gives away is because, you know, that ChatGPT, when you ask them to write something, the summary is, by doing this and this, you can do this and this. And it has that wording, that specific wording that's so common for AI that I know that if you're writing this way, then it's not your own work, it's AI. But most important, if you have a class, and you know, and you pay attention to what your students are doing, and you see that by the end of the term, the student is submitting something that they never were able to do before, well, geez, that says something, right?
Absolutely. A good trick when you give students a writing task is to go yourself to ChatGPT and put that prompt into the chat to see what kind of answer it gives you, what structure, what keywords. So if I'm going to ask learners to write an essay on the pros and cons of using AI, I would first go myself to ChatGPT and type that exact prompt and see what it gives me.
I'll give you another idea, another twist. Have them send the writing and then give it back saying, send this writing to AI, run it through the AI, and look at the improvements that the AI suggests and criticize those improvements. Why would you use them or not use the improvements that the AI is giving you?
Yes. Veronica Acevedo asks a question. Will I ever be as awesome as you?
Well, if you looked at G's and Belen's presentation before, yes, you have to believe.
Selina Cullen says, can we learn about AI by using it? Or is there a reliable site where we can learn about it? So how did you become an expert on AI? Was it by practice, by reading, a combination?
I used it. I started using it. To be honest, I started using it for music. I found it interesting because I was using like this app for creating music, and I was like, wow, it can compose. And then I started researching and finding out. And then I said, well, let's try a lesson plan. And it was quite lame. So I started to add more things into it until I found out a good way to specify everything in a prompt. And then it just becomes natural.
And speaking of prompts, Nat asks, how long does it take to write such detailed prompts? And do you have some requirements that we should not forget to include? So what are the ingredients of a good prompt?
Well, number one, tell the AI who that AI is. Like, act like an English teacher, expert in ESL, because otherwise it will tailor your lesson plan for fifth graders, maybe, in the US education system. And we're not. So you need to specify who you want the AI to be, like expert in what. And then you need to specify the output. You're going to tell them, I want a lesson plan divided into these sections. I want you to include timing. I want this section to be like this section to be like that. I want you to include this material and present activities. Okay, and then you can also tell them how to structure the lesson. I want you to structure it in the form of engage, study, activate, presentation, practice, production, task-based learning. So you need to tell them all the details that you need. But with time, you'll find your own template for AI prompts, because that is also whatever prompt you write. If I tell you your prompt, then you're going to come up with lessons as if you were me. But if you come up with your own prompt, it'll give you that human touch into AI, because you will know what outcomes you want from the AI. So you're going to be able to tell. So it's just like trial and error, practice. Try it once, see what happens, change something, see what happens then, try it again, and so on. But the most important thing we need to know is that we need to feed the AI with information, or use a GPT that's already fed.
Of course, which people have to pay for and devote time and energy to. Something very important.
They're not paid. You can, like, up to 2 prompts or 3, you can use GPTs directly with the unpaid version.
Of course. There's the link in the chat right now, posted by British Council Argentina, with the survey that you need to answer if you want to receive a certificate for ELT Week. So this is very important. This is something that everybody has been asking about throughout the week. You can also scan the QR on screen right now to fill out the survey. Make sure you spell your name correctly and your surname, because exactly what you spell as your name is what's going to appear on the survey, same as your email address. So if you spell something at gamil.com, then that's not going to get to your inbox. So please make sure to complete it with all your details. Something that I found useful for writing prompts as well is having a bit of a conversation with the AI and starting the conversation by telling them, okay, I want you to help me write a lesson plan. What information do you need from me? So, and perhaps the AI will tell me, okay, well, tell me the topic, tell me the age group, tell me the level of the students. So if you want to start from scratch and you don't know, and you don't have Karina handy to ask, you can ask the AI what information the chat needs in order to help you write something. Question, is there a deadline for the survey? That's a great question. I know it's going to be open today throughout the week. So you probably have till the end of the month to submit the survey. But I'm not 100% sure. So if you want to do it as soon as possible, then that's probably the safest bet. Lily, if you in the backstage have a deadline for the survey and you want to mention when that is, please do. Now, how do we access the presentations? We are going to send emails to everybody who registered for the event. So we're going to send an email to everybody with the survey link, with the link to the recordings, with the where to get the presentations. It's all going to be up on our website, so I'm no problem. Don't worry, and we'll get it to you. Okay, we had another question in the chat some time ago for Karina. Rosanna asked, do you know, when you mentioned AI pedagogy, do you know someone working with such AI pedagogy? Do you have any favorite authors or anyone that you would recommend for somebody wanting to learn more about AI?
I would say just go there and research. That's the most important thing you can do with the AI. Because if you go and research, then you'll find the pros, the cons, and all the different views out there. Because there's always, if I recommend one author, then there's always going to be another author that says the opposite.
And it's a fairly recent topic as well. There isn't like a big body of work in AI. Everybody's just beginning to research. I think that the site that you shared on our Teaching English site that had pathways to AI will give you a very good and solid introduction into some readings, some webinars, a fantastic toolkit developed by Nick Peachy that you can download that has hundreds of activities that you can apply in your classroom tomorrow. So that's something that I would definitely check out. And the links to our Teaching English website are somewhere in the chat or description of this video, or are probably going to appear on the screen at some point. And if not, I'll make sure to get it in your email after the event as well. Should we ask ChatGPT about this literature? I haven't tried asking ChatGPT.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Somebody mentioned that there are some limitations as to how recent the information ChatGPT is. So if you were to ask ChatGPT, what authors can I read to learn about AI? I'm not too sure. Kari, have you tried it?
I'm trying it right now to see what it says. Let's see. It could hallucinate, though. It says, Mark Sharple's Practical Pedagogy, 40 New Ways to Teach and Learn, covers AI-driven learning. Rose Luckin, Machine Learning and Human Intelligence. Wayne Holmes, Maya Biel, I don't know any of these people. Passion, David Noonan, yeah, these ones. Zoltan Dornier, he talks about motivation. He's great, by the way, super inspiring. Philip Kerr, these are good for second language acquisition. John Swaller, Barbara Oakley, Richard Mayer. Well,
okay.
That was ChatGPT's answer.
To be fact-checked, let's say. Let's not trust that list 100%. I heard that
I honestly don't think Stephen Krashen did not talk about AI, definitely.
So I hear that something that at least ChatGPT is not very good at still is when they are asked about recent things. So, and this is perhaps a tip for anti-plagiarism homework. When you ask ChatGPT about the news or current events, they are more likely to just make things up. So you might want to incorporate that in your essay rubrics and assignments.
Or you could trick your students. You can ask them for some untrue information and have them write an essay based on something that never existed. And then if they come with an answer, then you know it's ChatGPT.
Yes, and also all those AI-generated answers are likely to be error-free. And that's a big giveaway because nobody just writes something that's perfect, that has 0 spelling mistakes.
Yes.
Maria Laura is asking, sorry, should I use a computer at the same time and Cell to complete the survey? No, you can wait until we finish in 2 minutes and then complete the survey when we're done. It will definitely be open throughout today, throughout the next week. So yes, you don't have to rush to complete it. Some people were saying that one of the questions in the survey is which was your favorite talk, and they're having a very hard time answering that one. Clarissa missed the link to Karina's presentation. Karina, I don't think you have shared the link to your to this PowerPoint presentation, or did you?
Did. It's right there. I did, but I can share it again.
Sometimes what happens is that because we're moderating the chat, and sometimes we delete people who comment with links to prevent, spam and that sort of thing. So maybe we posted it and it got automatically deleted. But rest assured that we're going to send the links to download everybody's presentations from all 10 talks in the coming days. All right. Does anybody have any final questions or thoughts? Otherwise, I think we can call it a night. It's been a very successful week. We had 10 wonderful presentations. And if you missed any of those, you can go back to our YouTube for the British Council Argentina, and you can revisit, rewatch, check the video descriptions for the links to our Teaching English website, our Facebook community of practice, our social media, and different resources. And I encourage everybody to keep the conversation going and to apply the things that you picked up in the different sessions, the ideas that you liked, the strategies in your upcoming lessons, which I imagine are starting very soon. Karina, are you teaching?
I'm teaching, but not in schools right now.
All right. So I know it's a busy time of year for everybody.
Yeah, it is.
Getting ready for the start of lessons. So I can see many names in the chat of people who have been with us all 5 days of ELT week. And thank you so much for attending, for engaging, for commenting, for asking questions. It's a real pleasure for us to have the level of professionals in ELT delivering these talks and to be able to bring this type of this quality of talks to teachers in Argentina for free as part of their continuing professional development. So we sincerely hope that you found this week inspiring and useful. And from the British Council, we will continue to organize these types of events for the English teaching community. So keep an eye on our website and our social media. And I think we can say goodbye. Shall we say goodbye, Karina?
Yes, we can say goodbye. Have a great weekend. And thank you for being here this whole week. Yes, I also saw a lot of names that I saw every day. So yeah.
Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.